we're actually gonna combine two things that my family loves, apple pie and bread pudding. So I'm gonna start with 4 whole eggs, and then I have a cup of plain Greek yogurt. I always use Greek yogurt if I can because it gives extra protein to whatever I am making, and we know my family always needs that. And then I have a cup of whole milk. I'll whisk all of that together. Now I have a tablespoon of vanilla. I have a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a whole teaspoon of cinnamon, and half a cup of sugar. I'm going to add all that together. Now that that's mixed, I'm going to add my apples. And I have 4 cups of diced apples, which was about 5 little tiny apples. And this is where I get really dirty. So I am going to toss the apples with my hands into that custard mixture. And then I'm going to add 8 cups of cubed bread. Now I made brioche yesterday just for this, because I really wanted to do this. And there's a whole video on how to make brioche if you want to. And then this morning I got up and I heated my oven to 400 degrees, and then I toasted my brioche for about 10 minutes so that it was kind of stale bread. It helps to absorb the custard better that way. So you just want to toss, make sure you get everything covered and coated. Then I have a casserole dish that is lightly sprayed with cooking oil. So I'm going to just pour this right in there, that whole mixture. Don't forget any of the apples. I'm going to try to kind of evenly distribute everything so that there's an apple and a piece of bread in every bite. And then the last step, I have 2 tablespoons of plain sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to mix those 2 together. Just like that. And then I'm going to sprinkle over the top. Then we're going to put this in a 350 degree oven for about 45 minutes. So our apple pie bread pudding is out of the oven, and we're going to let it cool off just a little while we head to the stove and make our sauce. So for our sauce, we have a cup of butter that I've already melted on the stove, a cup of packed brown sugar. I'm going to use light brown sugar today, and a cup of heavy cream. Now, all I'm going to do, turn my heat on to medium, stir this together, and bring it to a boil. And this should take about 5 minutes. So now that I've mixed it together and I have one single consistency, we're going to leave it, let it sit for about 5 minutes until it comes to a boil, and then we will take it off. We're going to add just some vanilla and then pour it over our bread pudding. So as you can see, our caramel sauce is boiling. So I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to give it a quick stir. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of vanilla. And it's going to make it bubble up again, so I'm going to do it slowly. Stir that in. And then while it is still hot, I'm going to pour it right onto the bread pudding. And there we are, apple pie bread pudding.